Welcome back to Raza Podcast. Today we got a special treat for you guys. We have Diego Tinoco right here with us. You guys might know him from On My Block, Star.
You might recognize
this one.
From my TikTok dances.
From your TikTok dances.
From Corona.
Yes.
But you know what? Yeah, that's what I was going to say right now. He's from the IE, baby. You know, Raza comes from the Riverside. He comes from Corona. We're all family here. We're super excited to share his journey, share his stories. So tune in, guys. This is going to be a good one.
Yeah,
Crazy, because you were always in front of the camera then. Like you were getting comfortable
It
little by
warmed
little.
me up into, like, I guess, show business in a way.
So then when you came to LA, were you like giving up on your skateboarding career? Like, did you know you were coming here because you were like, I'm going to be an actor. Like, I want to be in front of the camera. I don't care if I'm skateboarding or not. Like, I just want to be in front of the camera.
I think what it was I saw kind of skateboarding, I don't want to say dying out in society, but the flame definitely dimmed out in me.
Okay.
I wasn't as passionate. The money wasn't as, unless you were Nigel Houston or Ryan Sheckler or like Paul Rodriguez, the money wasn't there.
Yeah.
And it's not that I didn't have enough faith or belief in myself to attain that level, but I just didn't want to get hurt. I had
That's fair.
I chipped my tooth. I've smacked my
That's
dome.
a dangerous sport.
Very dangerous,
that's
right?
dangerous, yeah.
And it was one of those things where I was like, man, I don't want to do it. It's the risk outweighed the reward. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get you.
And I've always liked performing. I always liked the spotlight. I always liked creating stuff. And I always loved movies. So I was like, I want to move to LA and try out acting. I tried out an acting class when I was 16. So from Corona, drove to LA, tried it out. And then immediately after that, I was like, dude, I have to move to LA.
Wait, sorry. So you were born and raised in Corona?
I was born in Anaheim, moved to Norwalk, Downey, all around there. But yeah, Corona's home.
Shout out Inland Empire.
Shout out Inland
IE.
Empire. Yeah, let's
IE,
go.
baby.
Let's go. The IE, always.
He left before he could bless
IE
the bottle,
has my
though.
heart forever.
Yeah.
I love that.
But, I'm curious because Latino culture, like, okay, so you moved, like, that's crazy to hear. Like, for 18-year-old, be like, I'm going to go chase my dreams. Like, what did your family think about that? Like, what was that like for you?
I think every parent wants their child to, like, have this safety, right? So my mom, she was like, you got to go to school, become a translator. And my dad was like, no, you got to come work with me for the family business and this and that. And I was like, Dad, with all due respect, I love you and I respect what you do, but that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do. And if I don't try it out, if I don't chase this dream, I'm always going to be curious about it. And I'm just, there's the pain of regret and there's pain of going through it. And I told him, I'd rather go through the pain of going through it. Yeah. And I'd rather be wrong than be right and never have tried it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I get that because, I mean, him and I were siblings and, we've always wanted to pursue the arts, and our parents, like, they've always worked for the school district, they're both therapists. So, my whole family works for the school district. And for us, it's like, there was no other way, it's a passion that you have to pursue.
I think a lot of people, especially for Latinos, especially are you guys first generation?
Yeah.
I'm first gen.
She is.
I'm first gen.
Well, either way, in any way we can all relate, I'm sure. Our parents kind of they've always had this work hard, keep your head down mentality.
Yep.
Right? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's gotten them very far. Right. However, we're not just trying to make it as far as our parents. There comes a time where the torch gets passed and we as the new generation have to take that torch farther than they did.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is to work hard, yes, but don't keep your head down. Keep your head up.
Absolutely.
What kind of opportunities are there out there? For producers, for screenwriters, for actors, for all that stuff. One of my good friends, Jesus Zelaya, he's directing the new Chalino Sanchez movie, right? The way he broke into, he's done incredible work. He did a short film called Wolves, another short film called Wolves and Lucha Noir. But the way he kind of got his kickstart was there was this McDonald's Spotlight Dorado Film Festival that was doing a contest, best screenplay, got like 80 grand to finance their own film. And he saw an opportunity. He submitted. He went up to the level. They gave him the finance. He created a film. And now one simple door can change your entire life.
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely
so crazy, right? But that only comes from self-belief and keeping your head up and being like, hey, what opportunities are there and how can I get involved?
Right. Absolutely.
Was that like something you came up with on your own? Because for me, like are you first gen?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you because sometimes I look at my parents and I see everything they went through to get here, first of all. And I'm thinking like, man, like in a way, I am their American dream. You know, like I feel like I have to pursue that. I have to fight for that, and I have to like die trying. For me, that was something that like my dad instilled in me, you know. But for you, like what instilled that for you? Like, did you see someone out there? Like, what was your inspiration to kind of like fight for that?
It was my dad, just like you. It was my father. I mean, my dad would wake up at like 5 a.m. every single day, go to work. My dad was he ran a pest control company, a fumigation company. So he would go out there when he was really young. He would go out there. He would put the big tents on the houses. He'd have the sandbags on his neck, climb up. I mean, he literally fell off like a 3-story building straight onto his back and like messed up his back forever when he was really young. And after that moment, he was like, man, I don't want to be in a hospital ever again. I don't want to be hurt like that. I want to be the boss. I don't just want to be the employee. I've done it for so many years. And sure enough, my dad, again, he took a risk, started his own company, one of the biggest pest control companies in Southern California. And from there, I mean, it was nothing but hard work. Even once he like, quote unquote, made it, right? It was nothing but hard work every single day. And his job was really hard. Whereas I don't want to say my job's really easy, but getting paid to say lines is way easier than falling off a 3-story building.
It still takes discipline, though.
It
still takes
Not to take away from it,
but what I'm getting at is like, I have no complaints.
Right.
Yeah.
I got what's hard about waking up early, going to sleep early, memorizing your lines. Like anytime I hear actors complain about, the industry, the spotlight, it's too much. I'm like, then get out of it, bro. Make way, because there's a lot of hungry actors who are willing to put in their time, dedication, blood,
and
sweat,
enjoy
and
it,
tears
and
into it.
enjoy it,
and be professional about it.
But you know what? That's what set you apart, though, because the first thing I heard was like, man, you were saying that you came here and you were like, I'm gonna do what it takes. You did Postmates, you were driving around, you were hustling, you were making sure you're making to your auditions. When you got that big break or that call, what was that like for you?
It was surreal. And again, I feel like a lot of my journey, a lot of my career, I've gotten in doses. I've gotten in little bits. So On My Block was my first acting gig, yes, as a series regular, but I had done little short films before that. I had done an episode on Teen Wolf where I had one line. I kind of got like a little experience about how it was to work with professionals, Dylan O'Brien, Tyler Posey. So I got little doses of it. I think if it would have hit me all at once, I don't think I would have been able to like manage the work.
Yeah.
I would have been too like, shaky and nervous. Because even when I did get On My Block, I was really nervous. I kept thinking I was going to get fired. I was like, man, this opportunity is so good. I don't want to fuck this up.
Why did you think you were going to get fired? It was like imposter syndrome?
100%. It was imposter syndrome, and it was a mixture of this is too good to be true. It's going to get taken away from me.
So that was like your first big break?
That was absolutely, yeah. First big break. But something has to click where you just can't care too much. Like you have to have this mixture of freedom and discipline.
Yeah.
Because if you place your results, if you place all of your attention on, I don't want to lose, you're going to lose.
Right.
If you place your attention on, you know what, I love this, whatever happens, happens. You're going to win.
Yeah.
For sure. With the discipline, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So On My Block, you know what I'm curious about is just like, because you were saying you did all these little gigs before, right? Yeah. But On My Block got you all this crazy attention. Like, when was the first time you realized you're like, oh man, like
it was man, the moment it all changed. I think, like I said, I worked Postmates, I worked at Wood Ranch 24/7. Like I delivered pizzas to rich. I won't even mention the celebrities that I saw when I delivered their stuff, and they were such assholes, and I'll always remember that.
wow.
Call them out.
No,
I'm
I'm
We'll
not
talk
like
about
that.
it off camera.
I'll call them out in person. I'll call them out
There
in
you go.
person. I'll be like, hey, remember that one time? But then, no, it's, I worked my ass off. I've seen the game from every level, right? Once I got On My Block, and right before it came out, I remember texting my brother, and I said, hey, man, I did this show. Worst comes to worst, I'll get like 10,000, 20,000 Instagram followers, and I'll get a badass demo reel.
Yeah.
And I'll send that out.
That's what
to
it's about, is
directors.
actors.
Really
The demo
important,
reel.
too,
I'll
That's
send
it.
that out to directors, and I think I could work my way up with this. And he was like, cool, man, I'm excited for you. Trailer drops. And he's like, oh, show looks cute. It looks cool, I was like, all right, bet. Like, maybe we got something good here.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until the show finally came out and I was back in my hometown. And there was sort of like this this sense of all eyes on you, no
That show
matter
went
where you
crazy.
went. And I was at the Ontario Mills Mall, and there's like posters of my show, like digital posters. And everybody keeps like, you know, hitting each other on the shoulder and pointing at me and this and that.
Shout out Ontario Mills,
Yeah.
man. If you know, you know.
You should have went to Tyler Mall.
Yeah.
Tyler Mall would
I
have
went
been
there too,
crazy.
but they didn't have the show there. The billboards.
crazy.
And I remember it was one of those things where I felt this strange, and again, all problems I'm blessed to have, but like I felt this weird restriction in myself being out in public. I got really anxious. I didn't like people looking
Like
at me.
eyes on you?
All eyes on me.
All right.
And it was one of those things where I was like, not that like I would do something stupid in public, but like you really can't say anything dumb in public because everybody has a phone.
Yeah.
And
Dude,
one
yeah.
stupid inside joke, because we all got inside jokes, right, with our
Yeah.
friends, where, you know, talking shit,
Dude.
this and that.
No one's gonna release their group chats.
Exactly,
right?
right? Yeah.
No one's
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. So it's one of those things where I felt really restricted as a person, and I didn't like going out at all. At all. I hated going out. Always wore a hat, and it wasn't so much like I thought I was Justin Bieber over here. I just didn't like. I like attention when I'm working on a set.
Yeah.
Okay.
But as a person, like I want my work to be very famous. Make no mistake, actors always say, "I don't want to be famous." It's like, go do a play then, man. I want my work
Off-Broadway
to
exists.
to be very famous. Do I want myself to be that famous? Not really. It's dangerous.
But your work.
It's scary. My work. If I could wear a mask,
Yeah.
and have that
Be Spider-Man.
that character be
Yeah.
famous as hell, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
However, myself, I don't want that much fame.
Yeah. I mean, it
'Cause
comes
puts
hand
your-
in hand, though.
But
you know.
it does, but it also puts your family at risk. It puts your relationships at risk. It puts your privacy, your mental health at risk. And a
absolutely.
lot of people can't handle that stuff. I've been blessed to have experienced it in like doses.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not saying I'm Michael Jackson or Justin Bieber,
Right.
but I certainly, if I go to the Tyler Mall, I mean, we start a
Yeah.
whole crowd there.
Yeah.
For sure.
I do meet and greets every other month, and police officers literally show up and they're like, "What the hell is going on? Why is there this big crowd?"
Yeah.
They're like, "Wait, they're just here for this guy," and I'm like, "Dude, I don't know. They saw this show, they see my
Yeah.
work on. I don't know. They're just here, you know, and,
Yeah.
and they're good people, and I want to say what's up to them."
Yeah.
Bro, I mean, personally, like the show came out, what, 2018?
What year did
2018,
it end? Well,
It ended in 2021.
I know
Oh,
this.
okay.
Let me
Yeah,
tell you, because your show lasted the same amount of time we were in college together, which is actually kind of crazy. We lived
Whoa.
together. We lived together in an apartment.
Yeah.
And I remember your show came out like spring around that kind of time in Netflix.
Yeah.
And every spring, our entire time we were in college, we would sit in the couch, living room.
Oh,
We
yeah.
would come out of our rooms, we put it on, and we watch it, like all the roommates and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just such a. But you know what? I think that brought us out of our rooms to watch it together was Raza, bro.
Yeah.
Like it was home. Like it
Yeah.
felt
It was relatable.
familiar. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
relatable.
relatable. Like
Yeah.
it felt like I was like your friend. Like it
Yeah.
felt like you would have been my friend in high school. In
It's
middle
almost like
school.
you were the fifth person in the group.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were doing that project though, did you know like you were going to have that impact, or like when did you realize like, whoa, like I'm bringing like the Raza together. Like this is something that I'm doing for the people. Like,
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I think it certainly everything you just said. I've heard that so many people during spring break, 'cause it came out every March 16th or like March 27th.
around my birthday. Shout out.
Yeah. I think I saw a little bit of where the ceiling could be, or like how much potential it could have when I was working on set. Brett, Jason, and Sierra have this crazy like electric chemistry that even if you're on a set with them or at a party with them or in a room with them, they just have this like natural ping pong energy that just bounces off of them. And it makes it like not just on screen but in person, they become magnetic to just watch and hear and listen to. So I really got to give credit to them. And obviously, you know, the writers, Jeremy, Eddie, Lauren Unerick. Shout out to, mi güerita, Lauren Unerick. But yeah, I got to give credit to them. And then obviously, you know, my chemistry with Julio was sort of like...
Bro, that was...
It was sort of like, right, I think we had a very grounded... Like, they certainly had a lot of like the fun comedic relief. They also had their drama, but like Julio's stories, it's not a very, you know,
Yeah.
silly story, right?
No, it's not.
Like,
It's
at all. Yeah.
And the thing is, like, that was actually something I wanted to bring up. We might as well just bring up right now, is just that last season, Julio's character, obviously, like, such a tragic ending to the story that was Julio.
Yeah.
And I mean, when I was watching, I remember I was just like, that sucks. Like, there's no other word for it. Like, you change your life. You know, his character Spooky, he switched around. He did a 360 or 180. You know, he switched his life around. He tried to do better, but it wasn't enough, you know? Yeah. And that's so heartbreaking because, I mean, us as Raza, we have so many family members that are out there doing the same things, and we want to see them do better. Yeah. But the tragic truth is sometimes that's not even enough, man.
No, we see that all the time. I mean, we grew up in that same environment. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned that because we were just watching that scene the other day because, you know, we were prepping, and I was just reflecting. I'm like, there's so many members of my own family who have experienced the same exact thing. You know, I know people who have, you know, changed their lives around, and, you know, just when you think everything is going right, you know, it's just like it all ends in a second. And that's just the reality of our people.
And not just for his character, but for your character too, because he was about to make it out too. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then that was just what downfall. When you were prepping, or I mean, did you know that scene was coming up? How did you prep for that emotionally? Because I was just thinking when I was watching it, I was just thinking I'm not an actor. Yeah. And I was just thinking, bro, I wouldn't even know how to like prep for a scene like that. Like, how did you channel that like heartbreak, that tragedy, that like anguish?
I think so. For that scene, we actually were scheduled to shoot it. Like, we were on a roll. We were shooting, you know, because the way we shoot is you shoot in block schedule, right? You shoot episode 1 and 2, kind of mixed and matched out of order. If you're watching this, no TV show or movie shoots in a perfect sequence. Right. You might shoot the ending on the first day. You might shoot the beginning on the last day. But we were in a perfect sequence. It was during COVID, right? And I was scheduled to shoot that scene on a Tuesday, and it's Monday, and we get a case of COVID. So we had to shut down set for like 2 weeks. So I was ready. Like, you know, when you're in the role of everything or in the momentum of everything, and you're not really nervous. It's like, let's go. Let's film it right now. Yeah. We took 2 weeks off, and then in those 2 weeks, I was prepping up, reading the script, and then I got really in my head about it because I was like, wait. Yeah. It's a pretty big scene, you know? Like,
I think it was the biggest scene.
One of our main characters is dying here. Like, my brother is dying on the show. Like, this is a pretty intense scene. So finally we get to set, and all the producers are like, you ready? Like, you got this? Like, we don't got much time. Like, we're running late. Like, we can shoot this in one shot, you think? I'm like, yeah. All right, just give me like 5 minutes.
Sorry, did you say in one shot?
That's a crazy ask.
No, we got multiple takes, but they're like, you can
no pressure.
Like, one take. I'm like, yeah. But it was one of those things where I was like, I think all art is derivative. I think you got to get a lot of inspiration from different sources, different actors, different movies, different projects. Yeah. Whatever your cup of tea is, get it. They say
you have to do the work.
The right method is the method that works for you. It's not Meisner. It's not method acting. It's whatever works for you. So for me, if I know I'm going to shoot like an emotional scene, I'll watch a scene that I think it's akin to, that I think it's very similar to. Mm-hmm. And for me, that scene that I sort of saw it very similar to was the scene in La Bamba when she finds out that Richie I'm getting the goosebumps just talking about it, that she finds out that Richie Valens had passed away, her son. Yeah. And she's listening to it while she's doing laundry outside, while she's out in her backyard, and she hears it from a stranger on the radio. And it says, Richie Valens has passed away. And then Bob walks into the scene, into the backyard, and she looks at Bob and she says, not my Richie, come on. And that simple, those 2 lines will always live with me and always mess me up. And I'm getting teary-eyed about it, but, you know, I lost one of my best friends when I was like 13, my friend Steven Nunez, and the exact words that the mom said were the exact words that my buddy's mom said. Not my Steven. Please, God, not my Steven. Yeah. So when I shot that scene with Oscar, or Spooky, right? I said, I don't know if you guys caught this, but I say, not my brother. Yeah. Please, God, not my brother. And then they might have cut it out, but I was even shouting like, not Oscar, like just because that's real. Yeah.
And people you brought that. Yeah, shit. You brought that.
Yeah, you feel it.
You can't make that stuff up. I mean, seeing my buddy's mom like throw herself at the casket when I was 13, like that shit lives with you forever. You can't put that in a movie. You can't make that shit up. And that's what I tried to channel into the work. And I'd like to say we did, you know, an okay job, because after that, tons of people were like, dude, I fucking lost my brother. And it was, every time I watch that scene, it messes me up.
Yeah.
So I like to get really raw with the work. Might not be good for the mental health, but I'm 27, so I got time.
That's what therapy is for.
Well, that's
therapy
number one.
is
That's
for.
what therapy is
You know
for.
what's funny?
Do you have a therapist?
Helps, right? My buddies.
Oh, the homies.
My buddies, my homies.
I mean,
Get a therapist.
art reflects your life.
Tequila. Yeah. Vodka. But yeah.
Casamigos? No.
Dr. Tequila.
I mean, whatever works.
Yeah, but I mean, art reflects real life, you know, and there's so many themes. I think there's so many themes in that scene that you guys had to unpack.
Yeah.
On top of that, on top of the heartbreak and on top of the loss, I think something that stood out to me the most was breaking the cycle, because you were asking him, who did this?
Yeah.
Who did this to you?
Yeah.
Right? You were asking your brother,
Right.
like, and he was just like, I'm not going to tell you,
tell
because I
you.
know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Like, I know what's coming next if I tell you.
Yeah.
I think breaking that cycle is just so difficult.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it's just like the art reflects life.
Yeah.
And I think that Victor here, I mean, he's done such an amazing job. We sent the script out to you for the Raza film.
Yeah.
It's based on real life, you know, and you can't make it up. Like you said, you can't make that shit up. You just can't.
Yeah.
I mean, he lived through that heartbreak, watching his older brother get incarcerated at the young age of 20 years old, you know, and losing all those years. And I mean, do you want to touch on that? I mean, like, how were you able to unpack all that into your art?
Well, I mean, just like what Diego's saying, I mean, you just have to make it personal, you know? I think everything that touches people and that's meaningful has to be that personal to make it universal. So that's what I think is really great about what you're saying, because it could become superficial if you're not really drawing from your experiences. Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, you could just turn to a therapist or tequila, but I mean...
Which I don't recommend. I was just teasing.
Therapist over tequila, right? Right, guys?
You gotta do what you gotta
Watching
do,
this,
right?
don't drink tequila.
Sometimes it's
Very
necessary. Maybe vodka.
No, on that topic, I mean, us, like, we're a trio here. I mean, I was born in LA, but I moved to Inland Empire. I fell in love with it. And the stories he tells out of it, I mean, man, I love it, right?
Yeah.
And the most important thing about us coming together is Latinos, Raza, wherever you are, you know, Mexican, Salvadorian. You're from Ecuador, no?
My father is from Morelia, Michoacán, Mexico.
Okay.
My mom's from Quito, Ecuador.
Okay.
Yeah, and her like dad was like Colombian, Bogota, so I'm a mixture of a little bit of everything. But
Nice.
I grew up in Cali, man. I'm Mexican.
Yeah,
You know
but
what
I mean, we're all Raza, and the most important thing here to me is we are creating our own opportunities.
Yeah.
You know,
You have to.
because we have to.
Yeah.
You know, something that I learned when I saw shout out Lynette Cole, Loose Films. You know, she was saying that Latinos, we have to be scrappers.
Yeah.
You know, like we have to fight for it.
Yeah.
And I think something that stands out to me about your career is that you did not stop fighting for it. Like,
Yeah.
not only did you create your podcast on my pod to make
Yeah.
sure that you gave back to your fans,
Yeah.
but also like you're doing that actors camp, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to give back, and even like the meet and greets, like that means
Yeah.
so much
Yeah.
because it reminds, like when you're posting about that, it reminds Hollywood, like, hey, like we still matter, like
Yeah.
people care. So like
100%.
what's your goal, like in that, like when you're creating your own opportunities, like even
100%.
writing,
Yeah.
producing, and all
Yeah.
that?
It's so I like to. A lot of people always tell me, they're like, "Man, you're doing so much.
You are,
You're
dude.
doing the
Yeah.
pod, you're doing the events. You're doing the school. You're doing this." And that's just what I show the world. There's also a lot more.
Yeah.
I'm working on music. I'm developing my first film as a producer with Loose Films. Lynette Cole, shout out to
Amazing.
them, and
Shout
Sergio
out.
Lira. I'm writing some scripts right now. And what I always like to say is, again, it goes back to, man, I saw my dad bust his ass off, and I can't wake up early to just put some words on a script.
Yeah.
To go talk in a mic, to go do this event on one day, like out of a month. Like, what I do is I always say this, like, I'm retired. Because I don't do this just for I do this because I genuinely love it.
Yeah.
I love every bit about it. I love the acting school. I want to grow that into the #1 acting school online and in person. Because when I was first starting off, I had zero clue where to start,
Yeah.
who to go to.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yep.
what agencies do I apply to? I remember where I got my first agency list was a a little thing called Yahoo Answers. And by some miracle,
Yeah.
like
That's
somebody wrote like
wild.
10 agents there and like 10 schools to go to.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to screenshot
There's no
that.
guidance really. There's
Well,
none.
yeah,
We
I
gotta
mean,
kind of make it
especially-
up.
especially coming up from the Inland Empire.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
like him and I, you know, like same thing. We've always known this is something we wanted to
Yeah.
do since we were kids, and
Yeah.
you know, the connections, you know, they're either there or they're not.
Yeah.
And if they're not, you have to make them. You know, you have to
100%.
make them. And I mean, he, you know, fortunately is a talented screenwriter, and
Yeah.
you know, he have
have
to
to
step
make
into the
your own
room
way.
and yeah.
And what I'm getting at is I'm very fortunate enough to where I am in a spot where I can create. So you best believe I'm going to create.
Yeah,
I don't have kids. I don't have to put all my time and attention into a little one just yet. I want little ones. But why wouldn't I create a bunch of cool ass art?
Yeah. Especially art that reflects you and your people, and you know,
Art that
the
you're
stories
passionate
that
about.
aren't being told out there, you know.
100%.
Yeah, like you
100%.
have to.
Our friend Diego here knows about the experiment in downtown Riverside.
Oh yeah.
So when did you hit the experiment?
Yeah, how long ago was that? I just want to know.
It must have been like 2019.
Was that your only time though in DTR, the experiment?
I don't go out much.
No.
Yeah, if I do go out, it's to my buddy's restaurant called like La Vida Cantina.
Oh
La
my
Vida,
gosh,
yeah.
the triangle.
Costa Mesa. Yeah, the
Dude, I
Triangle.
watch all the fights there.
Oh, the
I
UFC
love
fights, right? Yeah,
that
I'm always
place.
there.
Oh my goodness, I
I'm
love
always,
it
my
there.
buddy runs that place, so he always invites us down.
Tell
to
him
watch
great
the
job.
fights. Yeah,
Great
it's a good
job.
spot,
Like
right?
I love
Yeah,
La
it's
Vida.
really
I
good. Shout
love
out to
it.
that
I love
spot.
it.
Go
I
check
love
it
it.
out.
Shout
It's a
out,
great
dude.
spot.
Seriously,
Outdoors,
shout out.
It's like the food's good.
It's the best
perfect.
place
The
to
environment's
watch
good.
fights at.
Yeah.
Like it's literally the best place. I don't know anywhere else to go.
It's super chill. You know, I
Yeah.
hate clubs. I hate like, I think clubs are really silly because like everyone's just there. No one can hear shit.
Yeah.
Everyone's yelling in each other's faces. Somebody has strep throat. You get strep
Spreading
throat. You get,
diseases
the
all
you
around.
get sick.
Yeah.
And then nobody can hear anything. You leave the club with your ears ringing. You paid like $500 on like
Yeah.
some lousy bottle
Someone's
they
baby
could buy
mama,
at
baby daddy
Albertsons
gets
for like
mad.
$30.
It's not
Somebody throws up on somebody fights, and you go home and you're like, that was awful. I never want to do it again.
Yeah.
And then you go back the next
Literally.
month. And it's like, you know what I mean? So I stopped going to the club a long time ago.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Respect.
Long time ago.
Respect.
Oh, but back to that. No, the reason I brought that up was because much love to Riverside, right? For us, our responsibility, we were kind of talking off camera a little bit, is we feel a sense of responsibility to represent Riverside and put them out there. And I kind of want to know, what do you feel your sense of responsibility is? Like, what kind of stories are you trying to tell?
Yeah.
Like, with all the projects you're working on, like your actors camp and all
Yeah,
these things. Like,
that's a great
what's
question.
your...
I think, man, I like separate my life into like different areas. Like my brain is literally like different areas, right? So, for example, I have a clothing line called Sangre Mia, and that's specifically to empower Latinos worldwide. If you're from Ecuador, Colombia, Mexico, Peru, you know, whatever, I want to empower Latinos because when I was young, I didn't have that shit.
Yeah.
I remember, and people might take this the wrong way, and I really hope no one takes it the wrong way. When you told somebody that you were Mexican, it was like the lowest thing that you could be in their eyes, and
Absolutely.
you
Yeah.
saw it.
Absolutely.
And I always felt so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I never shied away from who I was or what I did, whether it was acting or skateboarding. But it was one of those things where people would ask me. I was in 3rd grade, and I still remember this shit vividly. What in this city are you? Because I'm kind of like light skinned, you know, so they don't even know. They'll be like, are you
Yeah.
Chinese or are you Japanese? Like, what are you, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, I wish I was Japanese. That's cool, you know? but no, proudly, I'm Mexican.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing their face kind of like drop.
Be like,
And then I'd be like, and I'm also Ecuadorian. And they're like, oh, Ecuador, oh, cool. The equator, this and that. Colombia, oh, Pablo Escobar, cool. But Mexico, something about their demeanor.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
it might be very popular to be Mexican because we got Peso Pluma,
Yeah.
the guys who are killing it in the music industry. We got Blue Beetle now, right? We got all these fucking cool things. But back then, when you were a kid in 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, it wasn't cool
it's like
to be
the lowest
Mexican.
of the lowest.
yo, I
Yeah.
remember that though.
I have
because
friends who used to say like, "Nah, I'm from Spain. Nah, I'm from I'm
That's
Argentinian. No, I'm
insane.
Span. I'm Brazilian.
Yeah.
Same.
I'm Brazilian." It's like, no, you're
used to
not,
say that?
bro.
So we
Your
all
last
know.
name's Rodriguez, bro. Like,
No. I
Rodriguez.
mean, no, because I mean, I grew up in Koreatown, and when we were
Yeah.
in class and stuff, I remember that project where they were like, "Oh, write about your ethnicity." I wrote, obviously, I'm Mexican, Salvadorian, but then I had my neighbors here. They were also Mexican, but they
Yeah.
were saying stuff like, Spain.
Yeah.
Or like they were trying to channel Europe into it. And I was just like
100%.
confused. I remember that was the first time I felt like confused about like, wait, why isn't
are
everyone
people
saying they're
shying
for
away
Mexican?
from who they are?
Yeah.
Why is that
That
a
was
bad
confusing
thing?
to me back then.
I
Yes.
never shied away from it. I always said it loud and proud. This is who I am. This is what I represent because I'm proud of it. I don't give a shit, man. What you guys think about me? I'm gonna let my work speak for itself. So Sangre Mia, that's kind of like the mission behind it, to empower and inspire Latinos worldwide. Actors Campus, it's right now, it's to help out actors worldwide. Eventually, I want to expand it into like a program for directors, for writers to break in, because that shit, again, it's acting, Hollywood. It's kind of this strange, elusive industry where nobody knows how to break in. They think you're just born into it, and it's like, dude, there's not a perfect formula, but in a way, there is kind of like a formula, a little bit. Everyone's formula is different, but it's like when you're lost and you're like, I just need a sign.
Yeah.
Here's a sign. Here's another sign. Here's another sign. Make the journey your own, but here's kind of like where you kind of have to go.
Yeah, there's some guidance.
Some guidance, yeah. But as far as like my work in movies, if I launch some music, if the album comes out this year, I mean, I couldn't tell you. If I'm being honest, my work's, yes, it's to empower not just Latinos, but everybody, every ethnicity, anybody who feels lonely, anybody who's been through some dark shit, man.
Yeah.
I want to empower those kind of, the underdog. You know what I'm saying?
Love that.
Because I felt like coming up in my journey, I felt like such an underdog. Everybody counted me out. I didn't have much support of friends and family and this and that. And it was kind of like this lonely journey, but I never fucking stopped believing in myself.
Yeah.
And it sounds so corny, but like, man, if you believe in yourself, that's really the only belief that you need.
Absolutely.
You don't need your uncle, your tío, your abuelita, to believe in you.
Yeah.
Yes, it would be nice.
Right.
But I almost think that it might even be crippling to have everybody believe in you.
For sure. Yeah.
You almost need that doubt because it stirs some fire in you.
Yeah.
And you know what? And then you're like, you know what? Fuck that. I'm going to get what's mine.
Yeah.
I'm going to break down that wall. So that's kind of my goal with my work. It's half of that. And the other half is, if I'm being honest, it's selfish. I just love it. I love it for me. I love how it makes me feel. I love how it moves me. I love to learn about it. I just love it.
Yeah, that's not selfish at all.
No, not at all. Because I mean, once you're in Hollywood, like, what was that like navigating in it, like as a Latino? Did it get harder for you, like once you were in there? Because you broke in. Yeah. Obviously, you broke in with On My Block, and then when you were in it, what were those obstacles for you, like as a Latino in there?
If I'm being 100 with you guys, I think I got a little too cocky. I think once I got a little bit of the spotlight, a little bit of the success, I got a little, obviously the paychecks are nice, everything's looking smooth. You kind of lose that fire.
Yeah.
So I was 20 years old when all that happened. I entered my 20s, starting a TV show that was a hit across the world.
Yeah.
And it was this weird thing where it was the best thing that could have happened to me, but in a way, it almost took away my fire.
Because you felt like, okay, like, I'm good. You know,
I mean,
like,
it's hard to wake up early.
Like,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Like, what are you saying? Yeah.
Exactly. And then after the show, literally right after the show, we hopped on a flight, went to Budapest, shot a movie with Sony called Knights of the Zodiac. Big, fucking like $60 million film. Budget's crazy. Everyone's treating you like a king. And it's one of those things. And then you get the next movie, then the next movie. So these projects are all lined up. But then I started to really reflect, and I was like, can I keep this up for the next 10 years of my life? Shoot a project, yes, for 3 months, 4 months, and then go party my ass off for the next 6 months. Yeah. And do, pendejadas,
No, seriously.
Yes, a little bit of that's good, but too much of it, it's like, is that aligning with the person and artist that I want to be?
Right.
No, absolutely not. So I had to humble myself. I took a step away from a few projects. We had offers on the table for several films. And I said, you know what, man? As much as I want to do them, I have to say no.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, right now, I'm just an employee. I'm just an actor. And they can replace me.
Yeah.
They can replace me with X, Y, Z. Yeah. However, let me take a step back. I want to write my own movies. I want to produce my own films. I want, like my dad, I want to be el jefe, right? I want to produce my own stuff.
Yeah, and tell your own stories.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That way, no one can ever take that away from me.
Nope.
So this last year, We had Bad Hombres come out with Tyrese Gibson and Luke Hemsworth, and that was a really great film. I learned so much on that project. But now this year, I'm taking a step back. I want to get my projects to the studios, get them financed, get everything set, and start doing that. And star in them as well.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, being an employee is great. It's awesome. I would do it for the rest of my life. But I want to be something more than just the actor. I want to be the producer. I want to write. I don't want to direct. Yeah, that's your job there.
Javier.
I don't want to direct
Same
ever.
way.
Don't
Directing is
don't
tough.
don't
No.
talk to me about directing.
It's a big
Much love
job.
to directors
Yeah.
because
Big
that's
job.
a heavy load to carry.
It's the heaviest. That's the
Yeah.
captain
Especially,
of
I
the
think,
ship.
as an actor, you're like, well, let me just
Yeah.
lay low. You know, like let
And
me
you
be-
rely
It all
on the
falls back
director.
on you if you're the director, though.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Movie,
it's a
bad
lot
director.
of work.
Yeah.
It's
By the time
so much
a
work.
director finishes one project, an actor can do 3 to 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I that's why I respect directors so much.
Oh, for
Anything
sure.
they need, I show up to set early. I know all my
Yeah.
lines.
They're
It's
the
all about
backbone,
work when
yeah.
I get there, but the director really is the captain of the sea. Really is. Yeah.
For sure. 100%.
So these projects you're producing, like, can you give us a little insight on any of them? Like, is there any story in particular you're excited to share with the people?
Yeah. We're doing a film called Night of the Witches, and I can't say too much about it, but it's just an action-packed adventure film. 2 cousins and a sort of like a stepbrother. He's my adopted brother, and we go down to Mexico. We meet three witches, and our lives forever change. It's a horror film, so it's not in a good way.
Okay.
It's not in a good
Horror.
way. Yeah, it's
All
really
right,
good.
all right.
I've never done a horror film, so I wanted to sink my teeth into that and sort of see where it takes us. So that's
I'm
one of them.
excited for
Yeah.
that. Okay.
That's one of them. Yeah.
Dude, horror is like on fire
Popping.
right now.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah.
like crazy right now. Yeah.
Right now, it's either superhero films or horror films.
No, that's
Yeah.
what I was gonna ask you because when I see you and stuff, I'm thinking like action, superhero.
Yeah.
Are you trying to dive into that later on? Like, I can see you really like going into that Marvel route. Like, I see that.
I wouldn't be
Yeah.
opposed to it. Definitely not. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I would love to do that. I think Marvel makes some of the greatest films, even though a lot of directors say it's not cinema. To me, I don't think cinema's a visual thing. I think it's a feeling thing.
Yeah.
If you're moving the audience, if you're inspiring people across the world, that's cinema.
If you're
For
getting
sure.
them in theaters, cinema.
If you're getting them in the theaters,
If you're
that's
getting them in
cinema,
the
right?
theaters,
Yeah.
yeah.
And plus, on top of that, a lot of the actors that do these big superhero movies, they're also doing like indie films on the side too. So they're not just there for like the check. They're actual artists, and the directors too, right? They're actual artists creating art. And yes, it might be a little bigger than reality, but it's still art, I'd like to say. Yeah.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, we have like people representing us now in those
Yeah.
like theaters. Like, for example,
Yeah.
like Danny Ramirez.
Danny Ramirez.
Are you kidding me? Like,
Xochitl Gomez, Solo Maridueña. I mean, they're crushing it.
they're
They're
for us,
crushing
like they're crushing it. Cause like, I mean, when we were kids, we didn't really see those people
Oh,
out there.
absolutely
So
not.
like, you can't
No.
say that doesn't make a difference. You know, like it makes
big
a difference.
It
Yeah,
makes
for
a huge
sure.
difference, and we need it. We need more of it.
Absolutely.
No,
Amen.
yeah, for sure. I mean, dude, like it's gonna change everyone's lives once we work hard enough to like get out there. Yeah.
And that's all it is, work. Right? You know where you want to get. Now it's just how are we going to get there?
Yeah.
One route A might not work out, try route B. Route B might not work out, try
Yeah.
route C, but get to the same
There's
destination.
not one way to
Yeah,
make a
wait, do
movie.
you
There's not one perfect
Yeah.
way, no.
Do you have like a team behind you right now? Like, do you have people supporting you? Like us, it's us trio. Like we're
Yeah.
and then the people around us. Obviously, we have Ryan, Javier out
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
But for
I
you,
got a team,
who
yeah.
are your people? Who are your people right now?
It just depends for what.
Ooh,
Like for what? Like there's
Busy bee.
There's different
so you got a
branches,
lot
you know what
going
I'm saying?
on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
no.
answer is yes. He has
So the
really
answer
There's
is
the
yes,
Actors
you got the
Campus
people
School.
going on
There's
around
the
you, yeah.
merch. There's the Sangre Mia. There's the pod. There's my acting career. There's the music stuff. There's the writing. And I think a big part of it is I can never take 100% credit. I have a great team behind me. And they're definitely helping me.
Yeah.
They're definitely helping me.
Love
But
that.
all of that came from being the lone wolf in the voyage, doing it yourself.
Yeah.
But you don't need a big team.
Yeah.
You just need 2 to like 5 badass people who are passionate,
Passionate,
who have
yeah.
that fire in them.
Yeah,
And I promise you, you guys can take over the whole world.
Yeah.
100%.
100%,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Well, okay. Now that we're on that, that's something super important to me because that's something I've learned with them along these this journey. Is just like you can literally do whatever you set your mind to.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's actually insane how
Yeah.
much
All
you
it
can
takes is
create from
passion.
these hands.
Yeah.
And
it.
you know what? You said that. You said that. You were the one that kind of brought attention to is like when you feel that anxiety or that like fear, look at your hands and like look at, right? You said like look at your hands and realize like these hands, the ones you're looking at, can create anything you want.
Absolutely.
Right? So what's your advice to like the younger generation that wants to break out of the Inland Empire or LA or you know what, not even California, like anybody, like what's your advice to that younger generation trying to make their dreams come true?
Honestly, I think everyone's looking for this like kind of like ritual that's going to get them to where they want to be. Like it's almost like they want me to say like do 15 jumping jacks and like 10 sit-ups and like drink one shot of like water with like baking soda.
Yeah, but there's not.
The truth is, sit down. What do you want? Life is like a movie scene. Life is like a script. You are the main character. Watch any movie. Every main character has a want. They have something in the way of getting what they want. And then they have different ways of getting what they want. It's scene study. That's the first thing they teach you in class. What does your character want? Why? What are they doing to get what they want? What's in the way?
Yeah.
That's life.
Yeah.
What do you want? You have to get so specific that it's so clear.
Yeah.
And then from there you work backwards. Okay.
Right.
How do I get there? Well, study those who came before you. What did they do?
Yeah.
What are they doing currently? You have every bit of information on your cell phone. ChatGPT is the craziest,
AI is
most
the next
unreal.
Crazy.
I spend probably like 2 hours a day on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Information, links, what tools can I use? What can I do here? What can I do there? After you figure out what you want, sit down on your phone, on a notebook, make a plan, and just dive into it.
Yeah.
Get the fuck off TikTok. Get off Snapchat. Get off Instagram. Get off the reels. Yes, it's addicting. I know. I've been there. But that shit is not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's not.
If you put that stuff away for 1 year and said, you know what has scrolling on Instagram or social media done for my life? Has it helped me?
Other than getting
Maybe
in
if
a
you're a
loophole.
creator,
That's
yes.
it.
If you're posting, yes. But if you're just consuming, no.
Yeah.
Get off of it, create, and then put it on social media, right? You're doing music, cool, put it out there. You're doing short films, cool, put it out there.
Yeah.
You're doing construction, cool, put your work
Well, yeah,
out
because
there.
there's ways to use social media to your advantage.
1
but
million
But
percent.
it's like, I mean, the general population, what do? They just scroll. That's
But
it.
wait,
It's just
hold on,
doom
though.
scroll.
Consumers
Like
and
that's
not
it.
creators.
Like
You
that's
have
all
to
they do.
create.
Yeah.
But what about that that fear though of putting it out there? Because I think that's a lot of the reason why a lot of people are scared to put their stuff out there.
But
so
that's
like,
what
how do
stops-
you break
You know
out
what's
though?
scary?
Like how do you mentally
I'll
break
tell
out
you.
of that fear?
I'll tell you right now. You know what's scary? Dying. You know what's scary? Being on your deathbed. You know what's scary? Battling leukemia. My best friend literally battled leukemia. He's on his deathbed. And you know what he said? The only thing he wanted was more time. I wish I could have stayed here longer. I wish I could have done more. I wanted a house. I wanted a girl. I wanted a family. That's fucking, that's real.
Yeah.
Caring what Susie or Johnny thinks about me, I don't give a fuck. Johnny and Susie can go fuck themselves, respectfully.
Respectfully.
Johnny and Susie.
Johnny and Susie,
Respectfully.
sorry.
You guys can go fuck yourself. Why do you guys care so much?
Yeah.
You cannot care. They're not paying your bills.
Yeah. It's
They're not
perspective.
taking care of you.
Yeah.
They're not your friends. It comes down to that stupid saying, not stupid, silly saying, those who mind don't matter. And those who matter don't mind. And it's the truth.
Yeah.
That's actually wild.
At the end of the day, I do not care what my next door neighbor, what my worst enemy thinks about me, because at the end of the day, I want to do and create what I want to create in this world. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what sets apart everyone. I mean, everyone wants to be an actor. Everyone wants to be in the arts.
But everyone's too afraid to look silly and don't want camera.
Exactly.
Go to improv classes. And it's like,
Yeah.
and I will say this, it is a real thing.
Yeah.
Not just for adults, but especially for kids, for teens. When you're a teenager, dude, you don't want to look like a dork. You don't want to look silly. You know, you like that one girl, and it's like the best piece of advice is you have to think long term.
Yeah.
You have to think long term. You cannot think like, if I look stupid after this Instagram, you're gonna look dumb. Sure, you gotta create a lot of shit to get to where you want to get. And once you're there, dude, everyone's asking you, how'd you do it? How'd you get there?
Yeah.
How'd you become that?
Because you have to learn how to shut that off. You have to learn how to shut it off.
You have to learn how to fall in love too with the process and not necessarily being a great artist.
Yeah.
You have to fall in love with being an up and coming artist.
Right.
I feel like nowadays everybody wants to be the man or the Billie Eilish or the Timothy Chalamet. Everybody wants to be, and it's like, dude, work your way up and fall in love with the process and say it loud
Absolutely.
and proud.
That's the best part, you
Yeah.
know?
True.
And you know what? The process is 100% the best part, because then, you know, once you get to the goal, then what? You know? So enjoy what you got in the meantime. Enjoy every step you're getting to get there. You know, I think that's what kind of motivates me, is just like, oh man, that stress, that hardship is kind of like what fuels you and
It's
keeps
part
you
of the
going.
process,
It's part of it.
for sure.
And it gives me goosebumps just hearing you say that, you know? I mean, it's inspirational, you know?
And just have fun too. That's the other
And
part.
have fun,
With your
yeah.
people.
With your people. I mean, we got
Have
each other.
fun.
For sure.
Dedicate
What else is
time
there
to
to
have
do?
fun, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
If you're not enjoying it, there's no point.
Yeah.
if you're not enjoying it, there's no point.
Oh, yeah,
but like
for
set
sure.
time to like laugh about it. Hey, let's go to the theater, man. Let's go get some food. Let's go watch film. Let's go laugh
Yeah.
about
I mean, that's what we did. We know we
Because
like
at the end of the day, once you get to your destination, you know what you're gonna do?
Yeah.
The same
Want something
thing.
else.
You're gonna want something else,
Want
yes.
something
But
else.
you're gonna do the same thing you could have done from day one, which is enjoy it.
Yeah.
Hang out with people you love, enjoy it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Create, hang, love. That's it. That's all
Yeah.
it is, man.
And it's
Don't
almost like when
overcomplicate it.
everything's coming together, you stop and you realize, like, I should have been enjoying all the time where it wasn't coming together, because
Yeah.
it's part of the process.
100%.
You know, it's
the
all part of the
process.
process. And I mean, even for me personally, like, I feel like in my career, everything is starting to fall into place.
Yeah.
And if I would have told my 18-year-old self, everything will fall into place eventually, maybe I would have enjoyed myself even
Yeah.
more, you know, but
Yeah.
there's just this pressure of, well, things aren't coming together yet, you know, or like there's so much pressure that you give yourself. And
Yeah.
it's like, if only you stop and realize things will come into place.
Yeah.
It's not the right time, but
Yeah.
eventually they will. And
100%.
you'll enjoy the ride so much more,
Yeah,
you know?
man,
So
it's a beautiful road, and on behalf of us, thanks for being a part of that road with
Yeah.
us, because this is part of it. Like, this is exactly what we're saying. Like, this is the building steps and like getting to our goals and stuff, and like you coming here and stuff. We're really grateful. We appreciate you taking time out of your day, taking time out of your trip. I know you had a flight. So yeah, thank you on behalf of the Raza podcast, the
Yes,
Raza
thank you
team.
so much.
Thank you guys
Thank you
for
for
having
being
me.
here. Thank
I
you so
appreciate it.
much. We appreciate you a lot, man.
guys.
Cheers.
cheers.
Cheers.